You are watching the number one podcast in the wrestling community. I'm one of your hosts, Juan.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
And together we are...
Rope Break!
How's every single one of you? Happy Saturday for all of you. Happy first WrestleMania day. We have a ton of stuff to cover. We hope that you guys enjoyed the show for what it was. Hey, we got a WrestleMania. No crowd this time, Jean-Paul. A very messy road that took us to this date, to this WrestleMania. But I feel that, at the end of the day, we have to be happy that we got something because it could have been canceled, or like we wanted postponed. But yeah. What are your thoughts, overall?
I was just going to say, like you said, it was a bumpy road to get here. Like, if you asked me a week ago, I was like, I'm not really that excited. But as the days got closer and closer, I was getting a little more excited. Like, I was texting you and stuff like, oh, this Boneyard match will be legit. Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins should be legit. Hopefully Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan is legit. We didn't know which matches were going to be on day one besides the Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. But other than that, we had hopes that it was going to be, legit as it could be, considering, like we said, all the cancellations and sub-ins for, people who were sick or didn't want to wrestle or this or that. But I was excited for when, today came. But after the show was over, I was kind of let down by a lot of it, to be honest, which I feel like shouldn't really be a surprise. WrestleMania has usually been a letdown, but, some matches were legit, though, and at least the one good thing I will say is they sent us home happy, so to speak. Even though we were already all at home watching, because they're, like you said, no crowd. But at least the last match, it was legit. And even though my prediction was wrong, it was still a legit match.
And, we got something different, like you said, the Boneyard match. Nobody really knew what was the concept. We kind of hinted, though. So we were right. So I give you props. And I give myself some kudos, although I shouldn't, but at least, we did our homework and we found out that it was very close to what we thought it was going to be. And the Undertaker came back as the American Badass. So another thing that we mentioned to all of you family. So that was really good to see. But we're going to get through everything like usual. Thank you so very much for our new subscribers, everybody. Thank you again for all the interactions that you guys are giving us every single day. We absolutely love it. We have tons of content we're going to go over, as we keep dissecting this first night of WrestleMania. But before that, we want to also say a big, big, big thank you to the people at bctv.org in Reading, Pennsylvania. Thank you to John Fordina. He is like the management. He is like the person in charge of the program, because they are airing our shows on the weekend, on Friday and Saturday. Channel 15 for our family that watches us in Reading and Pennsylvania on Xfinity Comcast. Yeah, you can watch Road Break every time at 1:15 a.m. It's like ECW, Jean-Paul. We're like that.
Yeah, we're on late. Yeah, we're on late.
Yeah, we're like censored. We go after midnight movies. So that's our spot, and that's when we deliver. Like today, people, if you guys want to, after you see this video or before you watch the review on WrestleMania, you guys can watch Elimination Chamber. We did a great job. Remember, the cardio we saw.
Yeah, and we even have exclusive footage too that you can see as well. So that will be extremely legit.
Pretty great video for all of you. So thank you so very much, and big thank you to John Fordina for giving us the opportunity to be in BCTV. Please tune it in, Channel 15 Xfinity. Also, Mary, thank you so very much for all your help. Deef and Derfer, Mike, thank you so very much also. And now, Jean-Paul, we got all the thank yous, all the highs and everything aside. Kickoff show, you even told me, why is this taking so long? They freaking, they shouldn't have, a whole hour of this thing, because it's, going over matches, video packages, the same thing that we are used to seeing. And AEW actually does the same thing. So that should be something that you kind of, should take away. It gave me, a match, like you said, right away. Get me something that is going to get me excited. And in this time, they revealed that there's going to be two matches. There was going to be Natalya against Liv Morgan and Drew Gulak going against Cesaro. And Cesaro and Drew Gulak is what we have for this night. And was it a good match? I don't think so. It was just kind of wrapped up really quickly. What are your thoughts?
No, it wasn't. I mean, it definitely wasn't bad, but it wasn't the greatest match. The right winner won, in my opinion. But I did, the story of it was like Drew Gulak the whole time was just going for arm bars. The whole time he tried to counter everything into an arm bar. I was scared Cesaro was going to tap out because I'm like, oh man, don't tap out. Don't look like more of a loser than WWE already portrays you. But he didn't tap out, and just Cesaro's athleticism, you just love seeing it, especially when he had him up in like the torture rack and then the airplane spin, and he wasn't even holding it. He just had him on his shoulders and his neck, and he was just holding him there, like I said, without his hand. So extremely legit stuff in this match. But like you said, it wasn't very long. It was kind of short. Boom, just and a little taste to get us into the WrestleMania, you could say.
Exactly. So in the end, Cesaro wins. That was good for Cesaro. At least a win. A win is a win.
Exactly.
When you're that much of a loser, and it's so sad. It's so unfortunate. You gotta call him that. You gotta use loser with Cesaro, but at least he gets a win. So we always go sequence. Gulak looks for to the top rope clothesline, but Cesaro catches him with a European uppercut. He delivers the best European uppercut. Cesaro looks for a pin, but Gulak counters into a pin of his own. Cesaro looks for the sunset flip, but Gulak rolls him up for another near fall, but then Gulak dives into the Dragon Sleeper, but Cesaro flips him over and then slams him really, really hard. Then Cesaro attempts the neutralizer, but cannot lift him yet, so she shoves him into the referee. Then Cesaro uses a distraction to hit another European uppercut, and then he gets Gulak up for the airplane spin, like you said, and the slam, and that is all.
And
so legit. And done. Pretty quick. To the point. So then, like we said, we go into the main show. We got a video package from Stephanie McMahon. Or Stephanie McMahon is just talking about WrestleMania. She's welcoming everybody, and she's saying, hey, the pandemic and all of that.
Yeah, kind of like what Triple H did like 2-3 weeks ago to open Smackdown. Just kind of like the same thing, which I actually, Stephanie McMahon, to a lot of us, were like, oh, God, like when we see her, especially now, you just think of her like shrill, annoying voice, and you're like, oh my God, this is like changing the channel worthy. But here giving this message, I was like, okay, this is legit. Like at least because she did bring more attention to the pandemic, whatever is going on in the world than the commentary normally does. And like I agree. Like I said, whenever they have these kind of messages, I don't really like to shit on these or anything because it is nice.
Yes, absolutely. So that was cool, and then a big opening for WrestleMania. We get excited. First match of the night, Jean Paul. Women's Tag Team Championship match. The Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, going against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Yeah. For what it was, I want to say, not a bad match. Nikki Cross did a really hell of a match.
I just want to say one joke, and then I'll be serious. The only good thing about this match was my prediction was correct.
That's right. Yeah,
other than that, no. But like you said, this was a legit match from Nikki Cross. Alexa Bliss was in this thing in the beginning, and then she kind of tagged in right at the end. But everything in the middle between that was legit. Like Kairi Sane even looked good. I liked her ring gear coming out the blue, but it was like her pirate, with the hat and the coat and everything. It looked extremely legit because that's one thing you almost forget. Like during WrestleMania, they usually have these crazy entrances. You think of Triple H, he's famous for having the crazy entrances, and there's usually the fireworks and everything. But in the Performance Center, it's like, so...
Yeah, everything has to be ridiculous.
Yes, but it's like that's still cool when they have the gear. Like she came out and had that. When we get to the Seth Rollins match, I said to you, he looked like Jesus coming out because of the Messiah and stuff. Yeah. So I do like that some people did go out with the WrestleMania entrance gear. But like you said, though, this match was good. Those three women all looked legit. Asuka looked legit as well. And there was a couple moments that it looked like it could have gone to either team. But like we said, they love Alexa Bliss with gold. And even so, I'm not going to just be like, oh, Alexa Bliss, she's the only reason why they win. Nick, you and I both think Nikki Cross is legit, and she deserves to have championship gold. And unfortunately, I don't know if she'll win a singles title on the main roster, but if she's a tag team champion multiple times, she deserves it every time because she's a legit wrestler.
I couldn't say it any better. I feel the same way, and Nikki Cross is so legit. Unfortunately, in the team from her, she's the wrestler. Alexa is just the mouthpiece and the look. Mm-hmm. It's like kind of like Billy Gunn and Road Dogg used to be.
Yeah.
Billy used to be the good wrestler, but can't even say 2 words. But then Road Dogg will be the talker, and then the jabs and the jams, and that was it. But like you said, the really great match. I really love the spot that they recreated the move by the Legion of Doom, and I thought it was done.
Yeah, the Doomsday Device. Yeah, I thought it was done when she hit that. that elbow, like almost like an insane elbow into like a power bomb almost. And I'm like, oh, this done. And she kicked out. I was like, oh, okay. Well, now we know that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross are winning. Like, there's like you kick out of that. Like, what else are you gonna? Unless it was a roll up, because I'm like, how else are you gonna win?
Exactly. So let's
Like,
go. Let's go with like the last sequence, like we always do. Asuka gets to her corner, and then she tags Kairi Sane before hitting Cross with a code breaker. Before that, Kairi Sane already delivered the insane elbow. That was a legit spot, also because
to
like
break up that
the
near
neck
fall.
breaker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And when she did that, I could be wrong. I could have been looking into this too much. I could have been, hitting the bottle a little too much when I was watching this. But I almost feel like they counted it, but it was like she didn't actually hit the elbow to break it. I felt like because it was, pre-recorded, pre-taped, that they just like cut. Because I'm like, it looked like it should have been 1, 2, 3, and then it looks like the camera like flashed or something, and then she like hit the elbow. Maybe it was just the cut in the camera angle.
Maybe
I'm
it
not
was just the
sure.
cut, but you're right though. That I could perceive the same thing too. So like was kind of like, this kind of looks a little weird.
Yeah.
But like you said, then Kairi Sane goes on to the top, but Cross climbs up with Asuka, and also like with Kairi Sane, and then Cross is up for a power bomb, and then Sane leaps off the top with a forearm power bomb for a near fall. That's the Doomsday device. And then Asuka runs into Nick into the corner, but nobody's home. Then Cross hits the swinging net breaker to Sane and tags Bliss, and then Bliss hits the Twisted Bliss for the win. We have new tag team women's champion. That's what we predicted, and I feel that like you said, like they won Alexa with gold. Is it the right thing? Not really. I'm not supporting that. I just know how WWE operates, how they think, and that's why they did that. Moving along, Mr. The Egg, then we get a video package from, not a video package, but like Kayla Braxton is interviewing backstage Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro. Zayn say that everyone thought that it was going to be a four-phone conclusion, that Braun Strowman will like plow through like the artist collective, I don't know where the collective came from, and that didn't happen. And here's our new Intercontinental Champion, and tonight people think it's inevitable that Daniel Bryan will beat him, but he guarantees he will walk out as the IC champion. We're gonna find out in a little bit. And now we get like into a match that like nobody really cared. I don't think there was a single person in the whole entire universe, the Raw Break universe, no pun intended, the WWE universe, or the whole universe of itself, that care about Elias and Baron Corbin. Jean Paul, King Corbin comes out. He thought that like Elias was going to be a no-show, so he's telling the ref, "Hey, come here, do your job, count," and then, and then we got a match. Yep. So your thoughts on that?
Like you said, nobody really cared about this match. This thing was thrown together last minute by our amazing host, Rob Gronkowski. Like nobody really cared about this thing. I didn't care about it when it was on. The only thing that I enjoyed from this was seeing Elias get knocked off that balcony. Like 8 days ago or whatever that was not this past Friday, but the one before.
Yep, 2 Fridays ago, yes.
Is when he got knocked off that balcony, crow's nest, whatever you want to call it. That was the only thing that was legit. This match, I mean, like it was as good as it could have been, which isn't saying much when it's these two guys. None of these guys will put on a 5-star classic. They need somebody to carry them like a Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. They're more like, the guy. They're limited in the ring. They're not very good, but like I said, was this the bathroom break? Was this when I went and I got more coffee and I got some chips? Yeah. So, that's pretty much what I felt about this match.
And talking in shooting mode, like I should have gone to the bathroom back then. And now, right now, that I just went. But, like that's a thing from like a different story, but you're right. In the end, Elias gets the win. It wasn't even like a clean win, it was just like more into like a pinfall combination or anything. He didn't
hit like roll the bump. Yeah, and it was like done. And it was like, oh, does that mean this feud is going to continue? Probably, because they're lazy and they don't know how to book anything. So they're like, we'll just keep having this feud go for a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, it's going to go for, I think it's going to go a little longer. He didn't hit Dripped Away. Baron Corbin didn't hit End of Days. He kind of hit the elbow, but he missed. Not a really good match. And like for me, it was way too long. To talk about a little bit of the Mania aspects, like Michael Cole was ringside with JBL. And, because they needed somebody that could replace Corey Graves. And we got Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton on the Raw side of things. And moving along to the Raw side of things, Jean Paul, we get a match that, like, booking-wise didn't make too much sense. But the quality of the match actually made it, like, more understandable when we got to the end. the man Becky Lynch going against Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah, and I didn't expect this match to be here. Like you said, the opening match wasn't as bad. It was the tag team women's match. It was like, oh, okay, this was pleasantly better than I thought it would be. Then we got that dumpster fire bullshit match, and it was like, oh, okay, maybe you needed something hot to get the crowd back into it. So then you go with this match, and it's like, oh, okay, legit, we're going to see Shayna Baszler. She's going to choke out Becky. It will get the crowd, the crowd at home, you could say, more back into WrestleMania. Instead,
Yes.
the man retains. And if anything, this was the point that it sent us into the red zone, where it was like harder for us to get back into WrestleMania than it was, like I said, that second match, it was like, oh man, I almost want to change the channel. Then after Becky Lynch retains, it's like, I don't even want to watch this anymore. It's like, what are you doing? Because like we said, if Becky Lynch wins, the women's division is stale. You needed something to completely, give it a 180. And Becky Lynch retains. Now, if they're going to just kind of drag this out to SummerSlam and then do it there, they want to do it in front of a crowd, okay, then I get it, I guess. But, it's hard to predict what they're going to do, so I can only judge by what they have already done, and what I think they've done was the wrong choice.
I agree with you because, like, I don't, especially in the way that the match had ended.
Yeah.
The way was really bad. We're going to go over it in a little bit, but, like, I thought that Shayna was the obvious choice because of what you and me saw live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania at the Elimination Chamber. I thought that was going to be, the clear path for Shayna Baszler. Go to WrestleMania and choke her out and done. There was not going to be...
Because you completely, like, obliterated, destroyed, massacred 5 other women. And then you lose, and then Becky Lynch was doing this good against Shayna, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, they can't completely squash Becky because she's the women's champ, okay, whatever. But like you said, and it wasn't like a disarmer. It wasn't like, oh,
like the T-bone. It wasn't any of that. It wasn't like any of like Becky's like special moves or signature moves that you would call it. Yes.
Yeah. She just like what? It was just a roll up, right?
It was very similar to the way that like she beat Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, it was like,
it was just a roll up, and like she was trying to like, I was gonna go over it, but like it was just like a roll up.
You said, and it was like I'm watching, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna kick out. Like I said, I wasn't even like, I was watching it, but I wasn't even like paying attention. I'm like, oh, it's a roll up, okay, like whatever. And then it's like 1, 2, and I'm like, okay, she's gonna kick out, and it was like his hand hit down 3, and it was like, are you kidding me?
Whoa! And then you're like,
and I'm like,
why is it done? No resiliency.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell? Yeah. Now it was very anticlimactic, and I don't think that it's doing any favors, especially in the fashion that she keeps winning, especially because it's twice, and to this in the same type of woman. Because Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, you could consider in the same time of like submission specialists. Shoot fight.
Like you said, she didn't get either of them to tap out. It wasn't like she knocked them out. Like, oh, I hit the Beck exploder suplex, 1, 2, 3, done. It was nothing like that. It was like, oh, well, like a cheap roll up. Like you said, she beat them, but she didn't actually beat them.
Yes, exactly. And like I don't like how she keeps coming in that truck. Like again, it reminds me a little bit of like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like again, and I'm not. They shouldn't try to like get the fans to love her just because Stone Cold. Don't get that sympathy or don't try to like live vicariously.
Yeah, because it's like, so who is she supposed to be? Like she's like Ric Flair, but then she's also Stone Cold. It's like, how about she just is Becky Lynch? How about we just get that?
So like the match itself was like okay for about like the ending, like very anticlimactic. Becky goes to the apron again and counters the Kira clutch and applies the disarmer over the ropes, but then Shayna breaks free and logs into the Kira clutch on Becky on the apron. She releases her at the count of 4, and then Becky falls to the floor. Baszler goes out and leaves Becky in the hanging powerbomb, and then he whips her head into the announce desk for a few times, and then she goes back into the ring. Then Becky tries to grab Baszler, but gets caught into the Kira clutch, but Becky fights it, and then she rolls backwards to score the pinfall. So see, like you said, like she was like falls backwards, and that's how she gets the pin. She retains the championship, and I don't think that they did the right call.
No,
I don't think that was the right decision to make. I absolutely disagree with what they did. Just basically, like what you said, the division is absolutely dead.
Now the only thing, the only way that I was like, oh, okay, she lost. Not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but the only way it's like she loses this. get a chair and beat the hell out of her. She should have beat down Becky Lynch and left Becky Lynch laying in a pile of her own blood. You know what I mean? Maybe not literally, but I mean, she should have really beat her down to been like, this feud ain't over. Like,
Yes.
you know, like, because at least that the beatdown would have signified, oh, okay, there's more to come. Because it's like, oh, she won. It was like, oh, legit, I'm the man. I'm still the champ. And then it was like, oh, okay, Shayna's just a loser now.
Yeah, and she just went, like she just went through the court and she's like, oh, and
Did
like done, and then okay, so
That's what
like
I mean. I'm
so
like,
now they're
okay, so
calling
you're a
Becky,
loser.
they're calling Becky Buffy the Vampire Slayer, done, and Jean Paul, this only signifies one thing, that like on Monday Ronda Rousey comes back. That's the only
Yeah,
thing that you're telling
that's
me.
the
Like
only thing
Ronda
I can
Rousey
think
comes
of.
back,
But then Shayna on the main roster is dead. Because
Yeah.
what's she going to be? She's going to be the next Asuka. She's going to be on the main roster for a year until she has a title reign, and then the title reign is going to be bullshit because she's just going to probably lose right to Charlotte.
It's like the curse of like NXT champions, the women's
Yep.
championship. It's like you become the champion
Yep.
and you're legit for like a whole year, but then you go
Yep.
to the main
Yeah,
roster.
look at Kyrie Sane.
Right away.
Kyrie Sane
Kyrie
done.
Sane,
Ember
you have
Moon.
Asuka,
Ember
Moon,
done.
all of them. You keep falling into that curse, into the same path that all of them have had.
Yep.
So we get a commercial about like a show that the WWE Network is gonna have. It's gonna be the Undertaker, and it says it's gonna be like the last ride. So I'm looking forward to that. Seems like a really good documentary, and we both love the Undertaker, so anything that like has the Undertaker in it, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna try to enjoy it. So that's what we will do. WWE Intercontinental Championship match: Sami Zayn with Nakamura and Cesaro going against Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. Daniel Bryan comes out, and then he's like with Gulak, and they're doing the same thing that they did on SmackDown. They're like exchanging like taunts, and they're like, okay, wee, wee,
Yeah.
they're best friends.
To me, this match, like, we went from out of the frying pan and into the fire, but like we went from like the frying pan of bullshit into the big fire of bullshit with this match.
Yes.
This match could have been the best thing on the show, and I would vote it as one of the worst things on the show.
Yes. Yeah. The one thing is because Sami Zayn, like you said, he's cleared to wrestle. Why doesn't he wrestle? Like, he's able to produce great matches on his own, more so with Daniel Bryan by his side. Why can't they just go at it? Why can't they just have a regular match? And that didn't happen. And also, the match ended in the most anticlimactic way.
Yep.
So I really don't think that like they wanted to have this, but like, I mean, the winner was the one person that we were waiting. That was the only thing.
That's the only good thing that I agree that came out of this, is that like we had the right winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so like I said to you, like I hope that like they keep like portraying Sami Zayn like strong, because like he deserves a really like long and nice run with a championship. And now that like we know that there's not going to be a rematch because of a match that we're going to talk in a little later, but at least I feel that he can, like, they need to do that storyline that you've been booking for the longest time. Give me Cesaro, give me Nakamura, split him up, and then get Daniel outside of the picture, because if he's going to be taking some time off, this is the time to do it. And then put these guys into their own feud, and hey, maybe put Gulak in it, make it a fatal four-way.
And they might do something like that with Cesaro getting a win here tonight. Who knows what they might do. So that is definitely something I'm still hoping that they do in the future.
Exactly. So Daniel Bryan gets to his feet as Sami delivers some chops, because finally towards the end they kind of went at it, but like they only turned it up to like 2. It didn't go further than that.
No.
So then Bryan ducks Sami and hits a running elbow, followed by the stiff yes kicks, and then Bryan grabs the arms of Sami Zayn and stumps his head repeatedly, and then Bryan takes it to the corner, but Nakamura and Cesaro come back, and then they start helping Sami Zayn, and they attack Drew Gulak. Then Bryan wipes them off with like a suicide dive, but then Bryan goes up to the top and jumps up to like Sami, but he hits the haluba kick, and then he gets the 1, 2, 3. He didn't connect quite well, and I'm like, Bryan is gonna kick that out of this. No, 1, 2, 3,
yep.
Done. Most anticlimactic way.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I felt the same way, and it was like, because I really thought Bryan was gonna win this. I thought they were just, I don't know what WWE, who's like serial Sami Zayn piston, but they just do not like him. And I was like, he's going to lose this, and it's whatever. He hit the haluva kick, same thing. I was like, oh, he's going to kick out, and he didn't. And I was like, well, at least they went with the right winner. Yeah. It was a bullshit match, complete letdown of the quality of what it could have been, but at least they got the right winner.
Exactly, and like you said, like see the one thing is like he doesn't even do the Blue Thunder Bomb. He doesn't do
No.
anything. Yeah, he used to be good. I don't get it.
Yep.
So Sami, he rolls from the ring to celebrate with Nakamura and Cesaro in the Ram. Then Bryan and Bryan and Jugu, like they're like, like they can't even believe it. They can't even believe it. They cannot believe what just happened.
They're like,
So they're like, so we don't know what happened. And now we go for like the ladder match for the tag team championship SmackDown on the SmackDown brand. We already gave you confirmation a few weeks ago, even like, see, that's what we do. We try to do our jobs. And it was going to be a triple threat. And it turned out to be a triple threat. So it was Kofi Kingston, it was John Morrison, and it was Jimmy Uso, like each one of them representing their teams. And it was probably one of the best matches of the night.
Yeah, definitely. This was, in my opinion, the first legit match, and it also had the most legit winner, the winner who we both predicted and we both wanted to win. So to me, this was definitely the first match of the night where I was like, okay, this feels like WrestleMania. Not that this match was one of the best I've ever seen. It wasn't amazing, but it was legit.
Yeah, in comparison to the other ones, yeah, like you said, like, it felt legit. Uses of the ladder, they went at it. Like you said, there was a lot of shit talking. There was a lot of, like you could hear what they were saying. Hey, you piece of garbage, or like, hey, like I fly in your face, with like a pancake, things like that. And also, like I said, there was the ladder usage, and these three guys put on a really great show. So even in the end kind of like was like, what the hell is gonna happen? And in the end, we're gonna go over it, but like Morrison ends up like holding the belts and they retain, so it was good. I will say good showing for Kofi Kingston. I don't know, when you have to compare Kofi Kingston, John Morrison, and Jimmy is the weakest link out of the three. I don't see him doing like too many like springboard moves like Kofi will do, like like John Morrison will do, like all of them. I don't think that like Jimmy Uso is able to do all of that. But
no. I mean, and I think he could shine if he was, going against other people. But Kofi Kingston and John Morrison are like two A-list athletes. Like if you're just talking athletically, everything they can do, there's not many people that are better. So it's hard to like be on their level. But I mean, like you said, Jimmy Uso, though, he's not bad. He had the trash talking and all that stuff, and he just adds like a different element into it. He's more like thug, more like a brawler. He is athletic as well, but then the other two are way more like athletic springboard type, jumpy, stuff like that. Like they even say Morrison, he is some like the parkour style. And weren't they actually, you said they were saying is like Johnny Impact or Johnny, they were saying his names and stuff?
Yeah. But I was the one that like say, why don't you call him? Maybe it will be like a legit, kind of commentary. It will be like, for example, if you acknowledge all the names, like, hey, he used to be Johnny Impact, and now he's John Morrison. Hey, and the best spot, like we had John Paul, of course, the Spanish Fly. That was a really legit spot. Like they did the Spanish Fly on top of like. That was really cool. He did the Starship Pain also, like from the top rope, and he didn't have enough room. Like it didn't seem like it because the ladder was right there, and Kofi Kingston was laying on the ladder, and then he did the Starship Pain on that. That was there were so many good spots here, but I can tell from a lot of people that were tweeting with me, the only ones that were legit were like you and me because we were calling for the right team because everybody else wanted the Usos or the New Day, and I'm like, no. And Morrison is cool, and they just won the championships. And how about now that we're talking about this, the video that they had during the kickoff show? That had that song that they were singing and everything.
Yeah, that like funny rap video that they did. Like, it was kind of like cringy, but I was still laughing at it. So, I mean, I liked it. Yeah, I liked it because of how like awkward they are. Because they, like I said, it's these two middle-aged white guys are trying to be in a rap video. So it's like, it's funny if you think about it. So.
Oh yeah, it is. So like, they did a good job on that. So like the one thing is like Morrison and The Miz are like really good friends. They understand each other. You can feel the chemistry. You can tell they both like gel really well, and you can see that it transcends everything that they do. Therefore, to me, good thing that they kept the championships. And now we're gonna go to like spots, like always. Uso takes the bridge ladder from the ringside and bridges in between the ropes and the upper ladder in the ring, and then he flapjacks Kofi onto the ladder and yells, "He did, boy!" He did! And then Morrison jumps onto the bigger ladder and jumps on Uso, but gets super kick and then from Jimmy. And then Morrison on the bridge ladder. They climb to the top of another ladder, but Morrison shoves the ladder over, and Jimmy flies to the outside and hits the floor. So they were legit spots, I will say that. The Spanish fly, like I said, really well executed. Then Morrison climbs to the ladder and gets to the belts, but Kofi comes back and punches Morrison, and then Kofi and Morrison they're brawling, but then Jimmy gets back and he puts another ladder right beside where they were, and then all three men are fighting like to get the titles, and then like they end up unhooking the thing, but not like the thing
Yeah,
that
it's
that's
still on. It's still on like the coat hanger. It almost looks
yeah
like a coat hanger. Yeah, they
yes
unhook that, and they're all holding the hanger, and they're all like yeah,
yes
and then all of a sudden, I mean, I'll take over from here, I guess, since I'm going. But he's like Morrison. He like kind of
go
gets like pushed, and he falls, and then Jimmy and Kofi are holding the hanger, but there's no belts because Morrison, when he fell, he took the belts with him.
yes
Then technically Morrison won. So, like we said, the right winner there. It was legit. He took a legit bump, falling completely backwards, and landed right on his back on the ladder that was
that,
bridged.
that was that was
With
like
the
that was
belt.
hard that was
Yeah,
hard yeah that
yeah,
reminded me of our buddy Montez going
yep.
that reminded me a little bit of that. So legit winners, like you said, and hopefully like they stay champions because I don't want the New Day, neither I want the Usos, just because they had their time, and I want to see other teams. Like you said, to
Yeah,
me the feud should be Heavy Machinery against against the Morrison and the Miz.
yep. I agree.
So now, Mr. Egg, we get a video package also about Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, legit stuff, and we go to the match, and Seth Rollins comes out as the Monday Night Messiah, wanted to copy or imitate a little bit of Andrade Cien. Almost to me, it looked like a little bit because of the white
Mm.
pants and everything, and the big like white coat. And I'm like, where's Selena? I'm like, I thought it was like Seth Rollins, but also he looked like the Lord. He had a little bit of like that resemble me like to the lore and everything. So he comes out. Kevin Owens legit. Every time that like WrestleMania season, Kevin Owens always has like the best shirts because
Oh,
you
like
can't like, grab
the
like
KO Mania and stuff.
yeah
Yeah.
KO Mania, but they use like the same font of like the previous WrestleManias, and they kind of add like whatever like a picture of him or something. But like he always has like the best shirts around WrestleMania season, at least for me. Match
Mm.
itself, very legit. They went at it really good. Like
Yeah.
you could see, and the
Yeah.
trash talking was great.
Can we say that this match like went from it started out legit to like are you freaking kidding me? Then
Yes,
back to legit.
yes,
This
yes.
was
There was
like
a moment.
yeah, they definitely gave us like the roller coaster of emotions. Now, obviously, I feel like this is a match that definitely would have benefited from a crowd. Because, like, the crowd reaction to when we thought it was over, the crowd, boo. And then when they're like, no, ring the bell again, and then the crowd goes crazy. This is a match that really would have benefited from a crowd, but I thought it was still legit nonetheless.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I feel that the crowd would have been more into Owens and
Mhm.
trashing Rollins, and it would have held the interactions. Although the trash talking was pretty
Oh,
legit too.
I definitely liked hearing all that stuff a lot.
Fat piece of crap. That was pretty
Yeah.
good. Or like when or like don't touch me. Like things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Or like you want your WrestleMania moment. You want your WrestleMania moment. Here's your WrestleMania moment. So for what it was, like I said, like we're gonna go like to like the climax of the match to like on like are you freaking kidding me? And then we're gonna go back to like the legit stuff. And like Kevin drags Seth up to the top rope, and then he looks for a superplex, but Owens takes his eyes, and then Seth hits a buckle bomb, followed by a super kick, and then and then you can get he goes for the stomp, but then he gets caught with the pop up power bomb, and now he never like does the pop up power bomb like he used to do before when he lets go. He makes it into like a sit down power bomb, and then he
uh,
goes for like a 2 count, and then Seth hits Owens with a ring bell, and the match is over. And
yep,
we're all thinking to ourselves, "Are you kidding me?"
yep. We're
Because
like this. Yeah, because like we said, they could be lazy and they could book Rollins to win just to continue this feud, and that's not anything that we want to see. We've seen this enough, and like you said, we were like, this is bullshit.
exactly. This is really bull. And like is the referee's like call the match, call the bell, but like then Kevin Owens like no. Seth Rollins is like leaving as he's like moving to the ramp. Like so Kevin goes like no, we're gonna do this. You wanted a WrestleMania moment. You're be man enough, be Messiah enough. make this no DQ. So
Yep.
like Seth is going like, stop tempting me, don't provoke me, don't do any of that, and he's like, well, I'm gonna make this DQ, and starts a DQ. So like the match, this is when it really picked up for me. I will say that this is when it
Oh
really picked
yeah.
up. Then we got like a really legit spot because also Kevin Owens beat him with the bell. So that was like another retribution. And then he climbed all the way up to the WrestleMania sign. And then he delivered a beautiful elbow. So then boom, Rollins like was done. Like the match, like, and then you texted me. He's like, "Oh my God, Rollins is gonna win," and I'm like, "No, no, relax, relax. It's still not done."
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I thought because I was like, he's taking so long to pull him in the ring, and we seen Rollins kick out a lot of stuff, but that's what did. And Rollins was dead. Yeah, I don't. I think it might have been an elbow. I don't know if it was like an elbow or he just did like a senton, but I mean, he crushed Rollins, and he was
Yes,
just laying there, and like you said, with no crowd, and you could hear everything they're saying. Rollins is wheezing. He was like, ugh, ugh, and it was
even
like he
Kevin, he's
was
like,
really selling it.
uh,
Yeah,
uh.
they were really selling it. They were like, duh.
Yeah,
They were
yeah,
going crazy. So
and yeah,
like
and so
it was legit. So
it was legit. So let's take you the whole thing, Jean Paul, so Jean Paul can relive and remember all these things. The match starts, and Seth hits a running knee, and then he tosses KO to the outside, and he calls him a fat piece of crap. Then Seth tosses Owens into the barricade, and then into the timekeeper's area. Then Rollins grabs the steel steps and slams him into Owens' face. Seth is talking more trash as he grabs the chair, and he goes to Owens, and then he calls him like, "You're always gonna be a bitch." So then Seth hits him with the chair again, and then Owens comes back and hits Seth with a ring bell, and then again knocking him down onto the announcing table. Owens disappears, and then he reappears on the top of the WrestleMania sign, like we said. Owens shouts, "How's this for a WrestleMania moment?" So Kevin Owens, like usual, being Kevin
yep,
Owens,
legit.
they mean legit. Then he dives off, then driving Seth through the announce table, and then Owens slowly gets back to his feet, and then drags Rollins back in the ring. Owens lifts Seth up, and I jump over was like, no, he's gonna counter, stomp and done. Thankfully that didn't happen because then Owens kicks, hits the stunner, 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens is celebrating. We get our moment, and we all were one more time correct in our predictions because he wins, and I think they do the right thing because Kevin Owens could be the hottest baby face that they have
Oh yeah.
if and only if McIntyre loses tomorrow. Then your number one babyface will be Kevin Owens, and I'm telling you that from the get go because this guy, like like you said, like he's legit. Like the crowds loves him. He's a great promo. He's a great wrestler. Why not
Now,
make
here,
him again the champ?
let me give another spoiler. This is concocting in my head here. So we know that. I mean, we don't know this, but you never know how long Brock Lesnar is going to hang around. Maybe he wants to take a break. Maybe he's done this and that. Paul Heyman still writes Monday Night Raw. He's still the head guy on Raw. What if we see another Big Show scenario tomorrow? Where Heyman turns on Lesnar and joins McIntyre because he's kind of bragging up Drew. I mean, he calls Drew a bitch and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna bring you back to reality" and all this other stuff. But he's also brags up Drew and says how good he is. So maybe he sides with Drew, and then Drew and him are a heel, and then you could do Kevin Owens going against him. But I would agree that would be legit, or him going against Lesnar. I just want McIntyre to win, so that's why I just concocted that little scenario in my head. But
It wouldn't be a bad idea because see now that you put it in that way, McIntyre right away becomes the heel. He's
mm-hmm.
champion, and then you use a top baby face in Kevin Owens, and then we get this rivalry right from the get go. So why not? See, that will be extremely legit for both men. And also with that, you're like taking off Seth Rollins out of the main event picture and just be like, hey, be on the mid card for a few months till everything goes back to normal, and then there you go. And then
Yeah,
you
I
have
mean,
two different
but just
guys
think of
in the
all the
main event.
matches you could do. You could do in your mid card. You could do like Andrade, Seth Rollins, Aleister Black. That could be a legit mid card. If you wouldn't consider Ricochet to be a jobber, you could put him in that, and that would be
Yeah,
legit as well. All those
yeah,
guys, Mysterio, Humberto, all them. That's a
yes.
legit mid card you have right there. But
I agree with
yeah,
you. I agree with you. And like then we had to have a little bit of interaction of our like hosts, Rom Gronkowski and Mojo Riley. Did we care about it? No, because they did the same stupid stuff that they did with like the Chubbs. Hey man, hey, keep kidding me, man. I'm good, man. I love it, man. And then we get our truth, and he's
mm-hmm.
like saying that he's the
Ron,
European.
the truth. killings.
Ron Killings, K-Quick, R-Truth, like a legit wrestler, but completely made into a joke, make it like a clownish act. I mean, but he enjoys it, so whatever. And when he's really funny too, so I'm not gonna say anything bad about him because actually, if they even put him to wrestle, he will show how good he is because he's a
Yeah.
great wrestler. But I mean, he enjoys his like character. I guess he enjoys his role on what he's doing now, and he says, of course, I'm the 24/7 European, all of that champion, and it's like really hard to like be the champion because I cannot go to picnics, I cannot go to church, I cannot go to any family events, I cannot do anything because my championship is on the line at all times. And then Gronkowski tried to be Vince Russo, tried to be David Arquette, and he wanted to be the champion, but R-Truth kicks out. But then Mojo Riley becomes one more time 24/7 champion. And do we really care? No.
No, and but I am hoping tomorrow R-Truth gets his retribution on night 2, and I hope he gets his title back.
Pretty much because
Yeah, because R-Truth is the only. To me, he's like the only. He should just be the 24/7 champion forever, just because, like you said, he is legit. He is funny. Like, don't book if you're not gonna book if you're not gonna book it legit, just keep it on him.
Yeah, he makes the prop. He makes that piece of prop. He makes the prop like meaningful, and that's R-Truth because when it's on somebody else's hands, it doesn't feel like it feels like nothing. It feels like the 24/7 nothing.
Yeah.
It feels like quarantine. Why? Because you're not doing anything, and that's what that title means. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So Charlie Caruso is backstage, and then she's interrupted by Paul Heyman. What? Oh, you just scared the living hell out of me. He's like, no. He's like, relax. He says that Drew McIntyre should be afraid, though, because we are 24 hours away from him being exposed as a wannabe. And it's not the Spice Girls, none of that. A legit band. I love the Spice Girls. Baby Spice, whatever you are, honey. And he says that he survives by embellishing and selling, but he has failed in 20 years at conveying how special Brock Lesnar is. He says Brock is not even human. He's a different species. He's like Ivan Drago. And all Drew McIntyre can do is walk into the match dreaming and leave knowing he was victimized by the superhuman WWE champion, Brock Lesnar. So like you said, there's a lot of the kind of promos, the type of language, the type of Paul Heyman is uttering. I think that like it suggests a slight heel turn. I wouldn't be upset if that happens. But we'll see what happens, tomorrow.
Yeah, the only counter argument I have to, and I enjoyed this by Paul Heyman, again hyping up the main event and the rightful main event for tomorrow night. But the only argument I will have against myself for Heyman aligning himself with Drew is that Drew is so over as a babyface, and he hasn't really been a babyface for that long, only a few months. And also, Drew's a really good talker. He doesn't need a manager. You know what I mean? Like like Paul Heyman would be wasted on him, but for storyline reasons, it would kind of make maybe a little sense because you do need a heel. But to feud against Kevin Owens, because who is he going to go against? We've already seen him mix it up with Bobby Lashley, all those other guys. There really is no other heel. AJ Styles, but after the outcome of the AJ Styles match, then no, I wouldn't say that either. So it's hard. There's really no heels, unless, like we said, unless the bullshit happens and Lesnar wins. But we'll save all that theories for tomorrow.
We'll save it like for tomorrow, but I feel that it's gonna if they do the right thing for McIntyre, he has to win.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, for example, even he said that he's been perfecting his accent because when he first came, he said his accent was really hard to understand. It was really thick. He got and people wouldn't understand him at all.
Yeah.
Had to improve that, so the way he delivers everything, he accentuates, he pronounces everything, sounds a lot better. So I can relate to that because I've been told a few times the things that go along those lines. But let's hope for the best for Drew. So Jean Paul, this is to me the only surprise that I didn't want to actually see happening, but it had to happen. Because I was thinking that my man Bill Goldberg, no, it's not my man Bill Goldberg.
Mm.
I don't think he should have been the champion in the first place. But he defends his Universal Championship against Braun Strowman, and all of a sudden, Jean Paul, we have a new Universal Champion in the guy that we just said that he doesn't respect the business.
Yeah, Braun Strowman won here, and it's one of those things. It was I'm not even surprised he won because it's Goldberg is such he beat the Fiend, and it was like, okay, whatever, you're gonna do spear versus spear, whatever plan you want to do, you think is gonna be a WrestleMania moment. But you knew Goldberg wasn't gonna be a long-term champ. The guy was winded, gassed. He does two moves, and you see him sucking air. And I'm not saying I would have amazing cardio, amazing stamina in the ring, but it's like, he's not believable. You get the people who are like, oh yeah, Goldberg 97, 98, but it's like, this is the year 2020.
Again,
You
that's
should be
13 years after.
yeah,
Yes.
you should be focusing on your legit stars, not people, not legends, bringing them back. Unless the legend is legit and can still go like we see with some other people. But I feel like I told you, they gave it to Strowman because they're like, Vince loves Strowman. He's like 7 feet tall. He's 300 plus pounds. He's jacked as all hell. So he loves Strowman. But as soon as everything goes back to normal, this belt's going straight to Roman.
Oh yeah, he's just warming keeping the
Yep.
title warm for Roman. He just like he's a transitional champion. We know that.
And also, they probably, because like you said, he doesn't respect the business. Vince knows this. Everything he said, it's probably was brought to his attention. They probably gave the title just to be like, screw you, indie guys. Screw you, independent losers who don't have a contract. Ha, ha, ha. We're going to give the belt to the guy who shit all over you.
Yeah, and it doesn't to me. It doesn't seem believable, and I understand the circumstances, but there was absolute no build-up. It was just announced he's going to be his replacement, and all of a sudden he became champion. If that's what you would have done, John Paul, give me Jeff Hardy. Give me Jeff Hardy. That would have been the perfect
They would have
comeback.
did. Yeah, but then to me, I don't want to see that because then it would have been Jeff Hardy gets one spear by Roman Reigns and done.
But you know what?
Jeff Hardy would have been champion, which would have been legit. But it's like, if he's gonna be champion, like make it legit. Don't give him the title run for 2 months till Corona is done, and then one spear, and then he's done.
Well, that one, you're probably right. But at least I would have much rather to see Jeff Hardy. No more words and everything. I would have much rather to see
And
that.
and also another thing is they probably don't feel Jeff Hardy's legit enough to beat Goldberg.
No, well,
Because then by all that logic, you would say that Jeff, which I know this doesn't really make sense because rock, paper, scissors, if you go by that aspect, but then if Jeff Hardy beats Goldberg, you could say that Jeff Hardy could beat The Fiend.
yes,
You
yes,
know what I mean?
that's
But
true. That's true. That you're making it like if you're losing a lot of logic when it comes to that, so it makes a lot of sense. But the match itself is easy to call it because it was pretty quick. It was four spears and then four
yeah,
power slam.
yeah, they all went in and they went to the settings before the match and they went to finishers. They put unlimited, stamina, unlimited, and they're like, okay, let's go. But time limit was only 2 minutes. It was like a fighting game, like Mortal Kombat. Round 1, 2 minutes, but only one round. You had to get
Yes,
everything in 2 minutes and done.
yes, that's what it was. It was just like pretty much like you said, the finisher mania.
Yep.
Four spears because we know he's not gonna be, and we said this in the previews and predictions. There's no way he's gonna lift him for a jackhammer. There's no way. So he only went four spears and like pretty much kicked out, and then four power slams done. Thank you, Bill Goldberg. Thank you for warming up the title. Thank you for being a retire Hall of Famer. Thank you so very much. Go back to your house. Here's your your millions right there. Thank you.
Yep.
And Braun Strowman is the new Universal Champion. Do we care? No, because you
Yeah.
said it already. That he's already warming up that title for Roman. We know that Roman should have been the winner all along. So
Mhm.
now we're going to like the main event of this night. And can you believe? See, even the main event is not even the championship match.
Yeah,
The main
but
event.
because that's just
They,
normally we always complain and we're always like the championship should be in the main event, but the Universal Championship, the only main event it should be in is the main event dumpster because all the championship reigns have been awful.
yes.
The only one that probably would have been legit would have been Finn Balor, but then he had to forfeit the belt to injury, and then ever since
Kevin
then
Owens was semi decent though. I would say
yeah,
Kevin Owens was semi
his was decent, except the way he lost it is the only thing I remember about it.
and to whom? To whom? Yeah,
Oldberg, in a
yeah.
bullshit
So like
match.
yeah,
And
yeah, and
but
kind of weird that he beat him in the same fashion that he beat the Fiend. Very
mm,
weird.
yeah, but
Very.
I like this whole the whole thing with the championship not being in the main event. Like I said, normally it pisses us off, but you know the caliber of this match that was in the main event, the storytelling and everything that they did, this needed to be in the main event. There's no way you put on that awful minute and a half, you know, like you called it, finisher mania. There's no way you put that awful match as the main event over this.
Yes, absolutely. And we didn't know quite sure what was gonna be the Boneyard match, but we kind of insinuated it yesterday on the SmackDown review. So please, go check it. And it was like pretty much like a buried alive,
Mm.
graveyard, boneyard. It was along those lines. And pretty much we got like more like a wrestling match. We got more like a brawl, like an outside brawl,
It
and we
was
got
just
more like a
more
kind
like
of like
like a yeah,
movie like stuff. And
exactly like you said. It was like a barroom street fight brawl. Like we were talking, we said Rocky Five. Rocky and Tommy Gunn fighting in the alleyway. That's what this was. This was just two dudes beating the hell out of each other.
yes,
Extremely legit.
extremely legit. AJ Styles comes out. He was like in the they is like a big I will say like a what the funeral, like what the car, what
Like
is
the
that called, like
hearse, the hearse.
yeah, the
Yeah, but
hearse,
yeah,
and like
that start. Yeah, like he came out, and it was like the Undertaker, like gong.
going like
And then the guys in the woods, they opened it up, they pulled out a coffin, and you
like
thought
the
it was gonna be
druids,
the
we will
Undertaker.
say, yeah, the
Yeah, yeah.
druids and all of that. Yep.
And then they
Go ahead.
opened the coffin. It was AJ Styles, and it was like, oh, okay, it was kind of funny. He's laughing. He's like, hey, where are you? Huh? Where are you? And he's looking for the Undertaker. And then he's like, oh, I think I hear him. And then Metallica starts. And then
Yep,
we
and
hear
then
that
you
motorcycle.
hear like the motorcycle, and you hear Metallica. And for the ones that want to know, the song that it was played at that time was "Now That We're Dead," and that's the last album that Metallica has so far. The Hardwire. They were on tour like this year, last year, and the year before, that, and it's a legit song. And I would much rather. I told you, and I told our friend Libel, I would much rather see Kid Rock, but that's only me. But like legit to see the American Badass come back.
Oh,
It was
death.
it was like an what you will say like a just like an old house, so to
Yeah.
say, like that was
Yeah,
like
oh yeah, just
the
like a
landscape
farmhouse.
that they
Yeah,
had.
yeah, like an old like farmhouse kind of thing. And like we said about American Badass, that was so legit to see. And I mean, also if you check back in our archive, it was probably predicted here first with that WrestleMania video that somebody put out. Hey, I don't know, like, rope break.
That's right.
Like we
That's
know our
right.
shit. So
Yes,
but
yeah.
like this was extremely legit, and like you said, it was almost shot like a movie. I felt like I was watching. They didn't really do too much wrestling. You didn't see like AJ Styles, springboard into an arm drag. You didn't see nothing crazy like that. This was just a slugfest. Dudes were beating the hell out of each other, and to me, that's what I wanted. I didn't want to try to see a 5-star classic wrestling match. Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker at WrestleMania. No, that's not what I wanted from this. You don't insult somebody's wife, insult somebody's career, all that other stuff, and you're like, oh, let's have an elbow and like collar tie up. No, that's not
Let
what
me
you
do
do.
the phenomenal forearm on you, and then because I insult your wife, yeah.
Yeah,
And now
yeah,
let
no,
me do
no,
my
no.
Roshi Roshi.
Yeah, yeah. Like the Undertaker's not gonna, oh, let me get you in like a suplex and let me, like an arm wringer or like. No, this is just throwing punches, and I'm gonna just beat you down into the ground, and that's what this was, and that's what they gave us, and I was happy.
It was really good, like you said. Like for example, in the Undertaker, they always said that the Undertaker is the most and the best pure striker in the business, and you could see that because every punch that he threw, it looks believable. Like it was more like punches, like they were dragging along like the farmhouse, and then like it
Mhm.
just starts through like dirt on his eyes and everything, and
Oh
they kept
yeah,
going
and
at it.
yeah, and even in the beginning of this match, it went right to being legit. It was like, oh, okay, like we said, there was no ring, so they were just brawling, fighting. They were up against the hearse. He throws AJ into it. He picks up like a metal pipe almost. It was just maybe
Yes,
about the size of his hand, and he goes to like stab AJ with it, and he swings. AJ moves out of the way. He bursts right through the glass window. He looks at AJ rolled out of the way, and he's like, "Son of a bitch!" And it was like that's when you knew at that moment there. It was like, yeah, you're
oh,
like, this
it
is
was
gonna be
legit.
legit. Yep, you're like,
It
this
was
is
legit,
gonna
and
be good.
also like how they kept talking to each other throughout the whole
Yeah,
time. It's
he's
like,
like,
yeah,
come on,
what's going
son.
on, son? Come on, son. Are you ready, son? It's like we're not done yet, son. It's like, oh yeah, keep on, stay with me, stay with me. You're not, we're not done. And they kept going at it. AJ had a little bit of offense at some points, and then of course, like I remember the Undertaker saying, make sure you bring Gallows and Anderson, which he did. And then at some point it was 3-on-1 because it was AJ. Like you said, it was pretty much a buried alive because AJ was already in the hole. Like he was already like I think you need to cover the hole, and that's how
Yeah,
you
yeah.
win the match. Pretty
Yeah.
much that's how I understood it. And he was about to like do that, and then Gallows and Anderson showed up. They got up with a shovel, and then they start kind of like beating the Undertaker. Then somehow the Undertaker goes back at it, like he's like powering both of them. But then AJ comes back, and then he broke something. It was like some like I don't know what it was, but he ends up breaking something on the Undertaker, and then AJ was the one that took the upper hand. And then he was about to like pretty much like there was even the Druids. They pull out like more people, like six more Druids came out. Like they did some
Yeah,
kind of
but they
like
were all and they were all on AJ's side, and it was like
yes,
we thought maybe something like, oh, is somebody gonna show up to help the Undertaker? Like, hopefully not his wife, but like we said, oh, is Kane gonna show up? And it's like, no, 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 he's in Knox County. He's getting everything settled there with Corona. He can't be bothered. So it was
that's
like the
true.
Undertaker. He's just slugging all these guys, knocking them down, and like you said, like, and then later on in this match, AJ got the upper hand again, and probably one of the most legit spots is he has the Undertaker in the hole. He's going to cover him. He's going to end this. He gets up on the, like the back, the machine or whatever, and he's like going to dump all the dirt on him, and then it just boom, Undertaker's right behind him. He does the
And the
famous
line
like,
and the line and
yep,
you see like the whole WWE production team, the cinematic, like they made it like feel like a film,
yeah,
like
and
a
that's the
movie.
one thing I like, and we even said it too. We didn't say, like we said, yeah, American Badass, but we said it's going to be a mix, and this was the American Badass, but he also had the Phenom powers. When AJ was up on the tin roof as well, he had the fire shoot up behind AJ, and then here he had the teleportation, whatever, the lightning, all that other stuff.
Um,
Yeah, so it was extremely legit, Undertaker. And it's one of those things they even had it like up in the promo package before, and I was thinking it while watching this. It's like, when is this guy for that new series that's coming out, The Last Ride? It's like, when is like you don't need when is it done? When is it The Last Ride?
yeah, no,
We keep seeing matches like this, and you're like, man, it looks like he could still go. And
and
it's
like
like,
and see, that's the thing. Like for example, in a match like this, and the way that WWE produced the match, like you get that sense, you get that idea that the Undertaker can still go. And yeah, like you said, it was really cool. He uses the powers, like you see the lining, and that's the kind of lining they should have used with Seth Rollins. Just
yeah,
saying, but he goes back, and then he gets AJ. They go back on the top. They were on the top of like the farm, I will say, yeah. And then he
yeah, like
took
on like the tin roof, yeah,
yeah, and like the barn, whatever that
yeah,
was, and then like he's like he took care of Anderson. He sent him like he took
yeah,
Gallows. He sent him away, and then he did a tombstone on Anderson, and then he
uh-huh.
gets AJ, and then also like I think he did a choke slam on him.
Yeah, yeah, he choke slammed AJ off the top of the roof. It maybe 10 feet, it like 8 feet off the ground. It wasn't super high, but he choke slammed AJ down and he broke some wood. I don't know, like it was just like a wooden pallet. There was probably padding underneath, but it still looked legit. He choke slammed him through that. And then, like we said, this was a thing. There was a bunch of holy shit moments in this, and
Oh,
that was one of
it
them.
was really cool. Like there was a lot of spots that, like for example, we've seen before. Like I kept telling you, like when the dirt and how you gotta bury your
Uh
opponent.
huh.
That was Survivor Series '03. Remind me when Kane did that to him. And then the big chokeslam on AJ reminded me of like Undertaker doing that on Rikishi on
Yep.
Armageddon 2000.
Yep.
So you get those glimpses of those things, and then AJ's completely knocked down. He's like, "It's done," and he's like, "I'm sorry, Undertaker," and he's like, "No, no, we're not done, son."
Yeah,
And like,
yeah,
stay
and
with me.
yeah, he takes him to the hole, and he's like, you put me through hell. He's like, you gave me a hell of a match. Not many people, took me to this kind of match. And he's like, it's okay, because AJ's like, I'm sorry. And see, the
Oh,
fact that they made AJ grovel like that, I was like, AJ's gonna win. I was like,
yeah.
you don't make AJ grovel like that and look like a baby, like a pussy, and have him lose. But he Undertaker was like, oh no, it's okay, we're legit, and give him a hug and stuff. Starts walking away.
And
And
then
then
boom,
big
big
boot
boot,
kicks him
big
right in the
boot,
hole. Yep,
and then
climbs
he
up,
finally
turn,
covers the hole.
turns the key, dumps the dirt,
Yep, and
raises
done.
the fist, and done.
Well, he gets no. Well, first he unveils like the headstone, and it
Oh
says
yeah, yeah,
AJ
yeah. That's
Styles and
right.
all
That
of that, and then you see like a 1977,
yeah,
2020, and also like he gets in the bike and
yep,
he's about to take off, and then he raises the arm, and then out of like the whole barn, we get to see the symbol and the lining and everything, like the Undertaker, really
yep.
legit.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if this is his last ride, legit. that's what I feel. For example, they produce this kind of a thing just for the Undertaker to say it's
Now,
done.
now you tell me what you think about this. Well, I wouldn't be upset if they continued this. AJ comes out, AJ could say, "Oh, I mean, because AJ's heel, he can say whatever he wants. He can cry, he can lie, he can make stuff up. He can be like, "Oh, this was bullshit. He didn't pin me. He just threw a bunch of dirt on me." If it was in a wrestling ring, he wouldn't be able to pin me for the 1, 2, 3. Like, you could continue this feud. I don't know what you would get out of it, but I don't know. I just enjoyed all the promo work that these two have had in the past, and I don't want to see it end because I felt like this match was thrown together real quick, and this was legit, and I'm excited for one, so I'm like, oh, I want to see more.
Yeah. Oh no,
I'm
absolutely. I
like,
want to see more too. I want
so
to see
that's
more
what I
too.
mean. I don't know if they continue this, what you would do. Hey, I mean, maybe that's something like you said. I mean, I don't want to see the Undertaker beat Drew McIntyre or something, but it's like that would be something cool. Like
No,
you
it's
said,
Strowman.
one last ride,
It's Strowman.
one last
Yeah,
ride.
have the title one last time. Yeah, like why not? Like if Goldberg was able to hold the championship, why can't the Undertaker?
Yeah.
So for that will be for me. But see that, like you said, I'm just gonna like reiterate, and I'm gonna say we left with a smile on our faces as the show was off the
Yeah.
air for night one.
And
Everybody
like I
was
said, yeah,
smiling because
yep.
everybody was rooting, I think, for the Undertaker.
I
There
mean,
might
I
be some
still
haters
wanted,
out there, but it's fine.
yeah, I'm not one of those haters, but I still wanted AJ to win because, like I said, storyline wise and everything
Yeah,
like that, I felt like AJ should have been the one to
I will
win.
agree to that.
But the fact that the Undertaker won in the manner he did and how it was all legit, the ending on the bike, fist raised up, the tombstone, or the gravestone, headstone, whatever you want to call it, all that stuff, and AJ will be fine losing. Losing to the Undertaker really doesn't make you a loser. It's like, hey, he had a legit match with the Undertaker. He'll still be fine. He's still the phenomenal one. But I definitely agree. Whether you wanted AJ to win or the Undertaker to win, there's no way if you enjoy professional wrestling that you should have had an issue with this match.
Oh yeah,
Definitely,
exactly,
definitely legit.
exactly. And are we excited for night two? Yeah, we have a lot
Yeah.
of things in night two that we want to watch. We're gonna have still John Cena and the Fiend. We have Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. We have Edge coming back against Randy Orton.
Last
We
man
get
standing.
we have the Last Man Standing. We have Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. We have the five-pack elimination challenge with Bayley and the SmackDown Championship. So we have Otis and Dolph Ziggler. So we have a night. We have the Raw Tag Team Championships also. So we have a night full with more emotions. So we'll be covering all of that too, Jean
Don't
Paul.
forget
So
Liv.
please,
Don't forget Natalia and Liv Morgan on the pre-show.
how can I not forget about Natalia and Liv Morgan? At least they're gonna be warming us up. They're gonna be
Hmm.
putting their sweat, tears, and blood. They will not be putting any blood, but like they will be like doing their best effort to get us hooked for like another like 3 more hours of professional wrestling. 4 hours though, if you want to call the pre-show and everything. But I'm ready for another 3 more hours. I think Mania has not disappointed as too much for me. The one thing, the Universal Championship, that was bad. That was for
Yeah,
me the
to
worst thing.
me,
And
the
Shayna
Universal.
Baszler. And
Yeah,
Shayna Baszler.
yep. I have nothing more to say than I 100% agree.
And family, thank you so very much for all the interactions that are having with us. We're very humble and appreciative for everything that you do for us, to every single one.
Mm-hmm.
Lori also, thank you so very much. And guys, don't forget to check us out in the social media world. We're going to be updating. We have a lot of content for you guys, videos like Jean Paul says, memes, everything, every single news and everything we put right there. So Jean Paul, I think you and me, we have one more thing left to say,
Yep.
and that is. Uh,
Uh,
uh,